Hello, everyone. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Cloud Show. So, currently, it seems like everything has to have AI. It's like whatever application you had and sprinkle some AI on top of it. AI is everywhere, AI is everything. That's what we hear. And that's what we are going to discuss today on the Cloud Show. Hello, Sakari, my friend. How are you?
Hello, Magnus. It's lovely to be here. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you. So, who the heck are you, and why are you running this wonderful company called Zure?
Oh, hey, everybody. Nice to see you. I'm Sakari from Finland, and I'm a CEO of Zure. This is a company we started 2011 with a friend of mine, and I'm a developer by trade, been coding .NET since 2001, and we've been very lucky to be in this boat of Azure that's been growing all the time. Right now, Zure is in Finland and Denmark and Belgium. And what we do is we design, build, and maintain digital products and solutions on Azure. That's
Yeah,
basically it.
fantastic. That's it. And then you started this company in Finland. You are from Finland. You are Finnish.
That is that
That
is
is
simply
correct.
that. You are correct. I
I
am.
am correct. Good. All right. So let's get down to the topic of today. AI. AI is everything. AI is all the things, as we have heard from all the wonderful announcements now. The first question, honestly, becomes because I wouldn't say I'm a skeptic, but when somebody says, "Oh, this is going to be the next rage," I go like, "Okay, so why is this thing so hot now all of a sudden? What happened?"
Yeah. That's a good question. I think many of us who've been in the business for a longer period of time in the IT, they kind of hear of this new silver bullet, and we kind of get a little bit skeptical. Is it something that's really true? I think it started with ChatGPT uh, back in November last year,
Yeah,
and it became the fastest growing service in the sense that it got like a million
just
users
took
in
off.
5 days or something. I think Instagram was the next one at 75 days or something. You will also see in the graph.
Mhm.
I think the hotness is about the natural language processing. It's about the fact that you can talk with the AI like a human being. You get a feeling that it's listening. My son came home from a football match right now. He might barge in. Sorry about that, audience. But there's this new kind of feeling. I was listening during my summer holiday, just a month back or something. I was listening to this podcast, and it had the guest of Yuval Noah Harari, this Israeli philosopher historian, and he was talking about AI. And it's like, why is this philosopher historian talking about AI? And he said that AI is the first tool in history that makes decisions by itself. So he was comparing it to a shovel and a knife and a fire, things that empower people, hint to Microsoft. But AI is the first thing that he thinks could be making decisions for us. And he sees that as a potential disruption in human society, good and bad. And
Right.
that's kind of wake up call in the sense that a historian starts talking about this thing that to us might feel only technical when it's not.
It is not, absolutely. So OpenAI, ChatGTP, we consider those now extremely disruptive technologies. And is this because they are because you can reason with them, or you can follow up questions with them, because a search on the internet was a shallow thing, right? We search in a little box and we get a result, and we have to figure out what to search for next. This thing actually suggests the next step for us, right?
Yeah, I think the NLP, natural language processing, my take is that's a big thing, and people like Harari, who are not IT people, seem to be of a mind that this when computer cracked the language, which is of course how we create contracts between people, how
Yeah.
society is built on language. That is a meaningful thing. The other thing I think is that GPT that came from OpenAI, the GPT-4, the latest one that came out in March, is also a so-called foundation model, meaning that it's generally usable by all companies in the world, in the sense that if you want to build something on GPT or OpenAI, traditionally custom development or building a tool would require a lot of work. Now, GPT being a foundation model means that it's generally usable and useful instantly, and that's something that's pretty amazing. I think I don't know, you probably run into the same situation, Magnus. You speak with your customers and companies, and they say that, hey, this GPT, we need to get to understand this because our board of directors or senior leadership team told us that as a company, we need to get to the bottom of this technology. And during my career, I can't remember many technologies where the impetus for learning about new technology has come from the upper management. It's kind of a rare phenomenon.
Right. So effectively, you're saying, it sounds like you're saying that the market is all of it. The market for AI, as in everyone is now looking and kind of expecting whatever we had before now plus AI. So how do we put AI on our thing? It's like icing on the cake.
Yeah, and Microsoft is in our market, we work in the Microsoft bubble or sphere or community. Microsoft is crazy about this, and they're coming up with many different co-pilots, and they've invested over $10 billion in OpenAI company, and that's visible in the fact that they are the only cloud provider that can provide GPT through Azure OpenAI service from the cloud in a secure and governable manner. And that's one sign. Of course, Microsoft could be wrong, but I don't think they would make those kind of investments if they wouldn't be receiving a favorable market indication.
Yeah. I agree, and that's where it kind of comes back to that thing where you want to think about this and maybe be still a little cautious. I'm sure AI is going to be great, and how great is, we haven't seen that thing yet. How great it's going to be? Maybe it's going to be entirely disruptive for everything we do.
Yeah, it is interesting. So with the AI, there are risks that aren't easily mitigated, and companies should be careful with it. Because the large language models have been trained by the data in internet, and they've been trained by humans in reinforcement training. It means that these models have biases.
Exactly. Whatever bias is in the data is going to be in the result.
Exactly. And they try to train those biases out, but they can't. If you ask for a story about an engineer, you will probably get a male engineer in the story. That's a bias that's hard to beat. And then there's the well-known risk of hallucination. Sometimes these models hallucinate answers because they try to generate an answer from you for you, and these are risks, but they are manageable.
They are.
In many ways, they are manageable. The issue is that market doesn't have the understanding for that yet, and I don't have the understanding for that yet. And there's no, AI safety tooling is underway and so forth. But it is a train that's moving. There's many companies that are looking at using this phenomenon in production already.
So it's easy to do, and it's easy to set up. You have some data that you need to train it with. You need to give the AI some data, some information, and then it will very simply for you, because you don't have to do anything. It will process your stuff. And so tell me about that. We're a regular company. Okay, I let's say I'm a manager of a regular company. We have some product has some data. Now we're gonna AI all the things. We had a search box before, but that seems like last millennia. We don't want a search box. That's shallow. We need AI in this, obviously. How do we approach this? What do we do?
So first off, it would be easy to imagine you being a manager of a regular company. I would love to see that regular company and you being the head of that one.
I don't know. I just made that up entirely.
Yeah. So first off, to kind of linger on what you said, The first global product we did that we went to production with at the client was in June. And we didn't train that product with the customer's data at all. So it was for a certain division for them, for people who were globally with customers to help them in their work. And going to production took about a month of calendar time.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the promise of this foundation model. It's kind of disruptive because it's hard to see a custom project that goes to production from start to finish in a month.
Yeah, it is.
And the approach of regular companies, what they do, what I've seen is early adopters might have something in production, like I said. Most companies are looking to understand what can these kind of models do. So, of course, OpenAI isn't the only one. Meta has Llama 2 now out, and that's very interesting because Meta has this open source like approach with their LLM, which is interesting. And Google's coming out with Palm 2. So there are options. But regular companies that you refer to, their leadership teams are not up to speed on what can be done with these models. They use ChatGPT. It feels magical. It gives me answers. And they want to somehow benefit from that, but they don't know what to do in their company. And their IT might, they are filled with work, operational work, day-to-day work, and they might not know either. So what I've seen during the last 5 months, what we've done is we've done a lot of educational stuff. 1 day workshop with demonstrations, half a day workshops with training.
They need to wrap their head around this.
Yes. And what I've seen happen next is that the company needs to have a brainstorm between the business process people and the IT people to kind of understand where could this generative AI be useful. And I can give you some examples of that later if you're interested, but that's the first step. And after that, some projects can be started. It's not difficult, but you kind of need to devote time to that in addition to your regular business. And you know how hard that is. Finding time for people that's difficult.
It is difficult. I agree. You'd need to have the ability to set aside a bit of R&D budget there, but you also need to involve the right people to understand what would we do with it. So do you have any examples, without maybe disclosing brands and so forth?
Yeah.
Do you have any examples of what are companies doing with it?
Yeah. Certainly, audience, viewer, feel free to Google Microsoft reference case and all of those things. Those are interesting. What I usually speak about with my clients are some things I've seen in Finland and Denmark and Belgium, so that they feel closer. And what I've seen is just stuff like, let's take a company with 20,000 employees, and they have a employee feedback gathering event, and these employees write free text, what's going right and what's going wrong. And this OpenAI, instead of some people, HR division, reading 20,000 free text responses, OpenAI might summarize all of that, categorize, contextualize, and find not the sentiment, which is something we've had with machine learning for a long time.
A sentiment score,
but find what's wrong, summarize and find the story. What do we need to fix? Very easy problem for very many companies.
Yeah, I mean, you could put humans on doing that, working through that, and coming up with this solution. But what you're saying is that you would just give all of that data to the AI, and it says, "All right, here's the summary."
Exactly. Other example is this, what we call enterprise search, which is something Microsoft is coming up with business chat feature. So there's a chat, you can ask questions, and it gathers data from Office 365 and Graph API and stuff like that, and it gives you a response. Now, what if you want to know about your products that are in your German flyers, and you put the question in, let's say, Indian? Now, OpenAI works even in Finnish. That is the first global service that works Finnish, that understands and speaks Finnish fluently. So it's kind of amazing. And what is possible with that is that if that company data from product flyers and sales brochures is added on top of OpenAI, you can use it as an enterprise search. That is not possible with the Microsoft Business Chat because not all data is in Office 365. So that's something manufacturing companies especially are very interested in. You know, they are selling an item in Chile, and someone from Australia wants to understand, you know, you sold this there, how did you sell it, what was the brochure and what did you say, and you can just search for it in kind of free text.
That actually that makes a lot of sense. It's actually, I just sideways here, kind of something you said, I remembered like a former disruption in data management, or having a large set of data that we can just use at our fingertips. Do you remember when Google came out with Google Earth?
Yeah.
Right. That felt, and not at this level, but that felt also pretty disruptive, or at least it was a shock to people, that we realized that every location, every street, everything, every place on the entire globe was a data set that was manageable by an application. And since that was amazing, you know, all this data, and I can just turn the Earth around and zoom down and I can see everything. That was cool.
Will.
But now we're kind of at, could we be at the place where now we can do that, or it's obtainable for kind of anyone to do it with any data set of any kind?
There's restrictions. There's a few ways you can train the GPT and OpenAI models. Let's not go there. That depends on the project. What's the right way to train them? There's faster ways and shorter ways and so forth. What's happening is that, for example, if there's people in the audience who do search engine optimization, and they work with Google and Google Ads and these kind of things, and now what's happening is, when someone now asks from ChatGPT some questions about, hey, what's sailing and what are the rules of football and stuff like that for work and whatever, in the future, and there's this feature out already called calling function. And it means that ChatGPT, you can add, as a company, you can add a component in Azure OpenAI service and say, hey, if someone asks about this kind of product, pull out product information from an API. Now, this means that the future is, Magnus, next time your tooth aches or you need to go to a doctor or something, in a few years, it might be a chat. And you ask, hey, what's the nearest free doctor in 500-meter radius? And it fetches data from public APIs of your medical companies in Sweden, and it presents you these. And then you click one and it makes the reservation. And that would mean that medical companies wouldn't have, you know, their calendar on the front page that they now have, I think, globally. It would bypass Google search. It would all be this chat experience. And now when Llama 2 from Meta, for example, is coming to a size where it's almost possible to put it on a phone, and it can just reach out to APIs, public APIs, to get the data that is real time instead of old data, like it was like 6 months back.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. It's going to be a big disruption for all of us, in the sense, where we want to go, what do we want to train, what do we want to learn, and what are we going to do next.
And it's easy to understand why all of these the major giants that we know about, right? The Meta and Google and Microsoft. It's easy to understand why they feel that they definitely need to be on this boat.
They have to be on this boat.
They have to, yeah, absolutely. So listen, this is actually coming to a close now. It's time to wrap up this. Yeah, I know already. It's always the case. Like, we could talk about this for hours, possibly days, right? But we have to finish it. It's been a real pleasure having you here today to like lay out the land of what the heck is AI and why are we doing that. So thank you for being on the Cloud Show, and I hope to see you back sometime in the future.
Thank you, Magnus. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.